Hi, Craig from DynoTorque. Not seen you for a while, been very busy doing our stuff and they've been busy next door, so we thought we'd have a little catch up for projects we're doing.
Right, I'm on. Yeah. What do we have here?
I thought I think this is the only one in Europe, I think, or certainly the only one in the UK.
Didn't the bloke used to drift one? What was that? Was that Tuesday,
no,
was it?
I think that was there was an MX5. Basically, it's a MX5 ND. There was a guy who did one, but I think it was NB with ND bodywork on it.
Was that LS?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Was it from Poland somewhere?
Spain, maybe?
Something like that. Wheels had like a mat. The front end was too big for the car, but it looked like an ND. So this had a BBR turbo kit on it, which made I think about 202 horse, something like that. I think it was 202.
Wow.
It was all right. I mean, I drove it back from Emerald. We took it up to Emerald to do the initial canvas sniffing and work out all the canvas on it.
And if anyone knows Craig, you know that this is his style.
Yeah, I had to drive it back. Yeah. Nice.
Grown man. 50 odd years of age.
Fine, yeah. So yeah, ran it as it was, just to make sure we've got all the. There's lots of electronics on this that all run off CAN. It's quite complicated, so we sort of tried to make sure we've got most of that sorted first, because I don't think there's not many ECUs now that work on these that interface into everything. There's piggyback modules now, but that's not how we want to do it. So yeah, BBR kit. I think he sold it. I don't know if he's selling it or selling it. I think that's still for sale. And it's having an LS3. So this obviously a dummy engine before everyone moans about dusting the engine and that. There was one done in America by, I think it's Flying Miata. They put a Camaro motor in, but I think they only did one and then stopped doing them. Well, I do know why, because it's a lot of work. And they seem to have stopped doing all that sort of stuff. But they used a Camaro rack, which I don't see why, because the Camaro's way wide.
So this isn't MX5?
No, so this is, the MX5's got a massive big motor. It's like a big electric rack, but it's motor built in, and it's a monstrosity of a thing. So that's actually an ND rack. Sorry, NC. So MX5 NC. So ball joint widths are correct. Height. I mean, it actually mounts on one of the original mount holes, so it goes in exactly on OE geometry. All track with ends, everything all are going to work exactly as they are. So when we do this sort of thing, it's very important not to have the rack too high, too low, too wide. You know, sometimes you have to make little compromises, but we try and get it really on as close as possible. And all the steering shaft goes in original.
So you can use the factory one, that's nice.
Yeah, I think we need to put a long UJ on. It just got nibbled a bit off the subframe there. So that'll work, so we're really happy about that. And the customer particularly wanted pop hydraulic steering if he could, so made sure that happened.
I mean, it looks like there's a fair bit of modification going on at the back there to fit the thing in.
There's been a little bit of nibbling.
Some windowing.
Yeah, it really has. I don't like cutting back into the bulkhead if I help it, because it's a lot of work and it's just quite intrusive. But the beauty is, if you look here, we've got the engine. The one in America I think was forward about 3 inches, which I didn't want to do, because then that really just start affecting
it goes in the rack then.
Steering rack, and the whole knock-on effect, and you want to weight back. You know, it's nice to get it there. I mean, it's pretty much, I mean, the cylinder, the front cylinder centre line is on line with the strut, so it's about as mid-engine as you're going to get it, or mid-front engine, however you want to put it. So I'm really happy with that. It has meant we've had to do some work around the back of the bulkhead to get it in. So we've trimmed some out and put a load of strengthening in, and we've actually got, because not a lot of this is seam welded, so seam welded all around the area, the chassis leg area and that, and then put loads of metal back in. So I'm really happy that's back to fine. We obviously been taking all the carpets out and interior and dash and everything, which is.
So does the heater box and everything still fit in?
Yeah, it's all fine.
Yeah. Oh, sweet.
Yeah, it doesn't actually go encroach into the car anymore. It's just had some weird box section around here, which we've had to put back in, but in a slightly different shape. So we basically have to remake the panels in a different shape. So that's all done. But it's having He's been seeing you guys next door, and he's having seat rails, seats, and I think he's having he wants some lighter wheels for it, some slightly wider wheels. So he's having quite a lot of stuff done.
And is this going to be a manual?
Yes.
T56 or whatever?
No, sorry, TR6060.
6060.
It's actually a LS3 out of the Camaro engine that we use. It's a used engine from America, which we just took apart, and it's mint inside, so that's really good. Headers, I've got some off-the-shelf headers which I've made fit, which is always nice, because obviously making headers is, if anybody's ever done it, it's pretty miserable.
It's a long process.
It's a long process, and I don't like doing it. I really don't. And
you haven't got the patience for that.
There's no point, and if you buy some off shelf that just fits, there is no point. There really isn't. So we've got to do the clutch muscle and that in here, and ABS is already out of the way, which is nice, because unlike an RX-8 and that, you've got to move all the ABS and everything.
I remember on the RX-8 you had to do a lot of cutting across the back there, didn't you?
That was for the Honda. The
was
Alice,
it?
you don't have to cut it. No, the disaster engine.
Yeah.
So anti-roll bar normally goes backwards and bows right into the engine, which I've flipped around, so that clears the motor now and clears all the front end. We've used some BMW style mounts, which I like to use because you've got a little bit of movement on them. They've got an offset mount on the bottom, so you can actually center the engine perfectly when it's all done. We've got a nice CAE type shifter for it, which
so is it on a linkage? It's not direct into the box?
No, it's on a linkage.
Oh, right.
Which is on the TR6060. You can use pretty much any BMW style shifter, or even a BMW one, which makes it really nice because, depending on where the lever comes, you can put it in the original hole. You just make it shorter, wider or longer, obviously as long as you've got space. And when you put it in T56, because it's direct in, you end up like a crank gear lever, which tends to lift and rotate. So we'll show underneath, because there's a couple of other bits and bobs that we've done that are different.
Go on up then.
Makes a load of noise there. Okay, so up in the air, front subframe all standard. We've not had to modify any suspension pickups or anything. All we've had to do is put some mounts on for the steering rack, which we've left with original rubber mounts. So it's all original isolation and everything, and all the trackward ends and everything all fit and work. Anti-roll bar still works, all the original location. So that's all really, I'm really happy with that. So it just keeps everything exactly as it was. We may put some slightly stiffer springs on the front of this, because I think he's going to use it for a bit of track work now. And the engine probably will be a bit heavier. Mind you, with the turbo kit, it does add quite a lot of weight to the standard engine. And there's a lot of gubbins on it.
So going back, there's your TR6060.
Yeah, so TR6060 with a remote linkage in there.
You've done a bracket?
Yeah, I've done a gearbox bracket for there. I've done it so it tucks right up there. Basically, it gives the space to bring the exhaust round. So you haven't got to bring it under the floor, because you start bringing it under the floor, you just lose all your ground clearance.
Prop looks a little weedy.
Yeah. It's just, I just, when you try and line them up, I just make a rod like this, so it basically you can point it at it. It makes it much easier than trying to measure, and
right,
you try and measure angles and it's not. So I've got that locates on and then points back, and it just makes it really easy visual location. And we've got a slip CV adapter going onto it anyway.
We haven't mentioned that. What is the back end or diff?
Yeah, so this is obviously the standard rear diff's a bit weedy on it, and the ratio is terrible and everything. So we've actually swapped a diff. This is actually a Kia Stinger, Stinger GT, I think it is.
What was the reason? This seems like a weird choice.
If you try and find an LSD that's nowadays, it's not like an E-diff or anything like that. You want a proper LSD that's got a decent ratio. There's BMWs, but they tend to be really expensive. So there's a few. We've used, over the years, we've used Viper diffs and other stuff. And this one, I spent a lot of time doing research on that. This one's nice because it's got quite a low pinion height. Because the rear subframe in this isn't particularly big, some of the pinions are going a bit higher than others, and this has got a low pinion height, so it means the pumpkin can sit up, and it means the diff doesn't sit down too low, and you've got space to run the exhaust through, which is quite important. And it's alloy, which is nice for weight.
Yeah.
So what I've done, we actually got the whole rear subframe. So I've sectioned the rear out, the rear MX5 subframe, and then this is the actual Kia subframe part.
Okay.
So all the bushes and everything is completely standard. So it's all the right bushes, and so all the NV8 should be good. Because although you probably will track this car, it is a road car, and you know, if anybody's put poly bushes on diffs or solid mounts on, they're horrendous. And the MX5s and RX7s, them sort of, they transmit a lot into the car, so you'll be quite careful on noise and vibration. So this has got to come out and all be finely welded and plated and that. But effectively, that's the Kia diff in the MX5 subframe. And on the front here, we just turned some bosses up, which actually they just take the original Kia bush, so it's all factory basically. It's already got some Wellwood big brakes on it. So.
What are you doing for drive shafts? You have them made? Or?
I'm actually going to make them on this.
Okay.
They're both tubular, so I mean I've made them lots over the years, and they've always been pretty good. It's I'm going to have a conversation with him. Just what I might do is just make them. In worst case, we'll send them off and get some new ones made, or try them. You know, I think they'll be absolutely fine. The outer CV isn't particularly massive on these, so I think possibly the outer CV will be the weak spot of the car anyway. I'm not sure. Some of them you can get a bigger hub conversion for them.
So is RX8 bigger than one of these?
It is, but these aren't like an NC with RX8. A lot of stuff swaps.
Right,
over.
these
aren't
are new.
Quite the same, no. So I'm not quite sure what the options are. But I think we're only going to run probably a 235, 245. So, and it's not a particularly heavy car, so I think we might be fine with that.
There's a fuel tank inside somewhere.
Here.
Oh, it's underneath still, isn't it? Right.
So obviously space to get everything in, and again that's one of the things with the pinion height. With the pinion height slightly low on this, like some of this we looked at, the pinion is actually touching there. So it's quite.
It's tucked in there quite nicely, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm really happy.
So what size ring gear is that?
I don't know.
No, big enough.
I think it's for some reason. I think it's like a 190 or something. I can't remember, to be honest.
It's fairly big though.
Yeah, I mean the Kia Sting's a big heavy car with quite a lot of power, and they seem, you know, I don't think this will trouble it at all, you know, because it's not going to be a heavy car. Obviously we're going to, once it's done, we've got different something going on here. It's all going to come back, it'll all be painted and prepped and raptored and stuff, and hopefully should be fairly straightforward from then on in, I hope.
Famous last words.
Yeah.
So were you going to run it on Emerald like normal?
Yeah. Because I mean stuff like this with the canvas, you know, there aren't. I can't find any information for canvas out there for the car, and there's so much of the car that runs off canvas that's like really weird. And Carl's had a real nightmare with it trying to track. Like the canvas would work fine for like a few minutes, all of a sudden it'd be look for a weird signal. And if it doesn't see it, it then puts it into like limp mode and stuff, or puts some mad fault light on, and it could be something stupid. It's nothing really to do with the car or the engine, but it looks for certain signals all the time. So it's quite. I mean, it's way above my head. I don't really understand it, but hopefully we've got that all the canvas is all logged and ready to go. I hope. We'll soon see when we come to put that together. All the original radiator pack and fans and everything.
And the little, what is it, 2 litre radiator is going to be man enough for this?
I think so, yeah. It's a very, very thin radiator, but it's quite big. But some of the real thin radiators, good. So although they're not particularly big volume, they get really, really good airflow through them. And we've had quite good results with quite small radiators in the past. Obviously, the fan's very important, and it's a good fan on it. You know, factory fans are always the best, always. So I'm hoping that's. If it isn't any good, then there's plenty of space to put a slightly bigger rad in.
I guess you get a direct replacement, something.
There might be an upgraded version for them, but I must admit I find factory rads very good normally, and they just work. So, and the other beauty is, if you want to go abroad or anything something goes wrong with it, it's just good Mazda dealer or Euro car park, whatever, put a standard rad back in it, which is the appeal sometimes. So hopefully.
Well, you've been pestering me to come round and film this, so it's time to get the engine back out, isn't it?
Lazy all day messing about with
messing about.
junk.
It's my life at the moment, that is. Yeah.
Loving it.
Loving life.
So, but yeah, hopefully we'll get the engine back out now, subframes out, finish welding everything, get some painting. I might get you to paint the bay tray.
I might not be available.
Yeah, so yeah, well, next time maybe it'll be painted in, the actual engine will be back. We're just waiting for a cam to come for it. We're putting a real mild cam in it, just give it a little bit more.
Not a man's cam.
No, just, I mean, it should make, sort of like, I don't know, 450, 480, something like that. I mean, which will be, I think it'll be plenty in this. Will it be doubling what it had? So
I think it'll be quite
won't
fast.
be over doubling what it had. I think it'll be absolutely fine. And torque, I mean, it had very little torque, so I think it'll be really good.
Well, what else have you got? A BMW lurking outside as well, haven't you?
Yeah, that's hopefully coming in. I might try and get it in tomorrow. What day is it today? I might try and get it in tomorrow.
Looks like a bit of a barn find.
It looks disgusting. I'll let you take a picture before we clean it. And then that's next. Well, that's
this.
Yeah.
I mean, that was probably the last time we filmed.
Yeah, it probably was. That's not actually me. That's my mate's car. That is.
Was it Audi 80? Is it 800?
Definitely 80 or 90.
Right.
I think it's 90. I should know really.
I don't know the
He's
difference.
been doing his bike. We're actually going to start on that now. But we'll do some on that if anybody's interested. There might be some Audi guys out there.
I am. I think that's quite cool. It's of the vintage that I like. Square cars.
Yeah, it's going to have the 5-valve, 20-valve head on a stroke diesel Volvo block, made to like a 2.6.
Which is the same as the Audi.
Yeah, it's basically.
Yeah.
But if you use a diesel block, it effectively gives you like a long stroke block.
And the Volvo one was cheap, from what I remember.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got an S5 8 HP 4-wheel drive box. It's having all modern Passat running gear, but
we'll get onto that later.
If you're interested, let us know. We'll do one. Right?
No, you want to put the name. You want to put Dyno back in the building.
Well,
I don't know. That's not the way to say it, is it?
Yeah. Well,
you want to put the Dyno back into DynoTorque. That's the way to say it.
We do have a Dyno.
It only drives one wheel.
Yeah. Okay. It's a bit because I've got a bike Dyno basically. That's where the name comes from, and it just confuses people. But I normally go to Emerald for dynos, or we sometimes use Greg, or we use Tom recently. But it's always a nose going somewhere and hassling that. And I've been looking for years really to put my own dyno in. Not actually for being a dyno centre. I'm not really. I don't want to be dynoing cars. I had enough of that doing bikes years ago. But when you finish a job like this, it'd be nice to be able to just do. And for you guys next door. We'd like
to have a mess.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. To be a queue of cars.
Yeah, of course we will.
So I've been looking. So if anybody knows of anything, I haven't got a massive budget. Like I say, it's going to be. I basically just want it for a tool, just so we can just run some cars. There's lots of pros and cons to which ones. I'd like some hub dynos, ideally purely for the space, because you can get them out of the way. I haven't really got space to start sinking stuff in floor, and because I lose too much of a bay then.
Yeah, it leaves a car working space.
I have looked at moving this ramp forward and putting one behind the ramp, which is a possibility. But I am looking possibly at some hub dynos, because like I said, we can wheel them out of the way. But we do autos, so some of them aren't very good for doing autos. So if you know of anything,
put it in the comments.
Yeah. No silly,
Craig.
No silly prices, because there's not
anything cheap price.
Yeah, it's not a massive budget. I mean, I understand, they're not for nothing, but if I missed one recently where guy wasn't using it, just sat there and it went cheap, and it's like didn't know. But we'll see if something comes up. Then let us know.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, until you've done a bit more work. See you next time.
Cool.